questions for people who understand preferential voting and understand how there's no airtime spent on it.
It's a busy morning for podcaster Hannah Ferguson.
The fear point is the uncertainty around Teals and what they could.
The 26-year-old is preparing to interview Leader of the Greens, Adam Bandt.
It's good to see if he is enthused by the idea of Labor adopting Greens policy or if he is frustrated at the lack of acknowledgement.
Do the grill on how is this policy actually going to work?
Yeah. I'm feeling a bit nervous, obviously, but it's lovely that they're willing to come in and spend their time with us as well. Everyone, can you imagine?
Please, it's like around.
Please. I love it. Can you see it? Yeah. Oh my God, the challenge.
Yeah, let's see.
This is Sarah, my
There
co-host.
you go. Thanks so much for having us on.
Let's go.
With a young female audience and an Instagram following across her accounts that's 200,000 strong, Hannah has influence, and politicians like Adam Bandt know it.
Adam Bandt, Leader of the Australian Greens, welcome to the podcast Big Small Talk. Thank you for coming.
Thanks so much for having me on.
Can you just explain in more depth what the Greens policy is around climate action?
So at a minimum, we should stop opening new coal and gas mines. Like, you can't put the fire out while you're pouring petrol on it.
What is the response to a lot of the working population who say...
The Greens leader says he thinks carefully about which platforms to appear on.
Are we going to get a chance to actually talk about the issues, to kick around ideas, to test them and to sort of go have a bit of back and forth?
But the morning shapes up as less of a test and more of a chat with Hannah.
I like what you've said. I was going to ask.
Perhaps unsurprising given she's a former Labor devotee and current Greens member herself.
So this reel is the highest performing of all time, but what's it on there? 2.2
Back at her office, Hannah's transparent about the goal of her business, Cheek Media, to promote progressive politics and influence how people vote.
I would describe it as incredibly left-wing progressive feminist content. Like, I don't think there's any point in shying away from the language. Like, I am a young 26-year-old woman with my own company, and I am talking especially to an audience of young women predominantly about the issues that they are facing.
Many of them want followers.
Ahead of the Australian election, her engagement online is growing.
Views.
1,280,000.
Yep.
197.
Shares.
8,919.
That's a lot of shares.
Yeah. Samco got heaps. Samco, Mighty Shigo, the highest performing, and then Peter Dutton.
During a busy sitting week last month, some of the country's most powerful people found time in their schedules to meet Hannah. Among them, the Treasurer and Finance Minister. And this week, the government invited her to take part in the budget lockup alongside journalists.
I think that the new wave is Instagram and TikTok and its position and conversation with young people. What they're consuming defines their view of the news and their view of politicians. So I think it's hugely important and it could define the federal election in 2025.
Ahead of the upcoming election, political marketing researcher Andrew Hughes has been observing the influence of content creators. He's concerned that transparency isn't top of mind for all.
If you're a person on TikTok, you've got 100,000 people watching you and watching your content. When you put a view out, are you influenced by a political party or are you doing it because you're a person? I think that point will become very hard to spot in the years ahead.
He says Australian laws haven't kept pace with digital media.
There's been no clarity at all provided in Australian legislation on having podcasters identify their brand partnerships, particularly whether or not they're being paid any money from a brand partnership to do an interview which is friendly or not towards a leader. That's the scary thing.
All right, we're rolling.
I always got more publicity than other people, and it wasn't like I was trying. In fact, I don't know exactly why. Maybe you can tell me why.
Oh, I could definitely tell you. You said a lot of wild shit.
In November's US election, both presidential candidates used social media platforms and podcasts to reach voters they may not otherwise have been able to.
You know, my best friend from kindergarten is still one of my best friends.
What?
Yes.
Clocking up millions of views. Some argue it's marked the rise of politics that's about personality over policy and could become a feature of domestic elections.
When you use digital and social media, the emphasis is so much on the person and less on the policy. And one of the negative aspects of that means then that we're going to see Trumpian-style policies done here and strategies done here, but it means we move away from policy analysis.
Can you give a sense of what are the values that you live by?
I think if I can sum it up in two phrases, no one left behind, but no one held back.
As Peter Dutton, the dad, the husband, the friend, the brother, sister, what did you get out of that period?
Well, I'm a big believer in the influences that then shape your life.
The leaders have come out quite clearly with a plan to make people like them, make people see that other side to them, their non-political side to them, their family life, their personal life. That slice of life dynamic has been very much front and centre early on with this campaign compared to others.
Any platform that they share their message on could help. Share what they stand for so people know who they are, know what they're voting for.
Olympic diver turned social media star Sam Fricker hosts the aptly named show Diving Deep. It's one of the podcasts Peter Dutton has chosen to appear on in recent months.
What would I need to understand about your childhood to see how you became the person you are today?
Well, we grew up in the suburbs, and it's still a working class suburb today.
What's your plan for Australia? Super quick on housing.
Sam, we want to build 500,000 new homes, and we want to stop for...
Sam also joined the opposition leader after his budget pitch, but says he isn't trying to influence his followers' thoughts on politics.
I just ask questions that I'm interested in because I want to learn. And it comes from a learning perspective. And I think some of the politicians come on because they know I'll give them a fair chance to share their ideas.
While the hour-long podcast interview with Peter Dutton didn't attract many eyeballs on YouTube, since December, Sam's short clips of it have amassed more than 1 million views.
Nuclear power, how long would that take to build, and why haven't we done it already?
Well, the reason we haven't done it already is because we've had a lot of coal in this country over decades and decades, and it's been cheap.
This month, Energy Minister Chris Bowen was also a guest.
Now, with nuclear, what's the problem with it?
The problem with it is it's too expensive and takes too long.
I've had recently 4 politicians on, 2 Liberal, 2 Labor, and I just want to make content that's engaging. It's got nothing to do with who you vote for, but if you can sit down and have a conversation and put that on social media, people can think critically for themselves, people are switched on, they can make with that content whatever they will.
The 22-year-old is happy to admit he's no expert.
I actually don't know a lot about politics, and I think it's good because I'm not coming from any agenda or any angle. I'm just curious.